Ladies, I want you to pay attention because there's a haircut quietly aging women over 60 faster than any wrinkle ever could. And there's a real chance you've been wearing it for years without even realizing it. We call it the granny cut. That stiff, rounded, helmet-shaped style that refuses to move when you turn your head and never catches the light, sitting there working against you every single day. But here's the part nobody tells you. The right cut does the exact opposite. It lifts the face instantly, softens the jawline, brightens the eyes, and takes years off your look the moment you walk out of that chair. The kind of transformation that makes people pause and ask what you've changed. Because suddenly you're not just looking younger, you're looking elegant, polished. The kind of woman who turns heads without even trying. That's the difference between hair that ages you and hair that elevates you. And today I'm giving you 7 specific, gorgeous cuts built for exactly what your hair is doing right now. Each one designed to bring out that lift, that glow, that quiet confidence. And I promise you, the one I saved for last is the one you'll wish someone had told you about years ago. So stay with me all the way there. Before we get into it, if you enjoy learning how to look younger, more elegant, and more confident after 50, I would genuinely love for you to be part of this community. Hit subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment below. It helps more women just like you find their way here, and that truly means everything to me. Now let us get into it. Cut number 1, the Bixie. And if you've ever stood in front of the mirror, wondering if you could really pull off short hair without losing every ounce of your femininity, this is the answer you've been waiting for. I know what you're thinking right now. I don't have the face shape for something this bold. But stay with me, because the Bixie isn't a pixie. It's smarter than that. It's the love child of a pixie and a bob, short and clean at the nape, where you need the lift, but long and sweeping at the front, where you want the luxury. Here's why it works. We tighten the back to expose your neck and jawline, that elegant ear-to-neck line most women hide under length for decades, while the front stays long enough to skim your cheekbone like a soft frame. So instead of hiding your face, you're highlighting exactly where you want people looking, straight at your eyes. For thinning crowns, this is one of the most forgiving cuts you'll ever sit in a chair for, because shorter hair carries less weight, which means whatever natural lift you already have gets to actually stay put all day instead of collapsing by noon. And if your hair has gone silver or gray, watch what happens. The shorter length catches and reflects the light differently, giving you depth and dimension that long hair simply cannot hold on to anymore. This cut needs nothing but a little cream worked through with your fingertips. No spray, no heat, no fuss, just movement. It's bold, yes, but bold is exactly what turns heads in a room, and once you've felt the lightness of it, you'll wonder why you waited this long. But if you're not quite ready to say goodbye to your length just yet, the next cut gives you almost everything this one offers, without a single inch sacrificed. Cut number 2, the soft blunt bob, and this one might be the most requested cut in every comment section I read, for a very good reason. Because if you've ever caught your hair separating at the ends, looking thin, fine, almost see-through under the bathroom light, this cut was built specifically to fix that. Let me tell you the one thing you need to remember before your next appointment. If your stylist reaches for thinning shears, those scissors with the little teeth, stop them right there. Because those shears slice your ends into 1,000 tiny uneven lengths. And on hair that's already fine, that creates a wispy, fragile, frankly aging look that does the opposite of what you're paying for. Instead, we want one strong, clean, horizontal line, a true, blunt perimeter. And here's the part that feels like magic the first time you see it. That solid line tricks the eye into reading the hair as thick and dense. Even if every strand underneath is fine, it's an optical illusion, but it's one that works every single time. Now we soften it just slightly, light internal layers through the top 2 inches only, enough to give you movement and bounce without ever sacrificing that strong foundational line underneath. Placement matters more than people realize. Hit it right at the corner of your jawline, and you sharpen and define a softened jaw instantly. But go too long toward the neck, and it drags everything down. Too short near the ear, and it tips into old-fashioned territory. So precision here is everything. If your hair has shifted into silver, gray, or white, this cut practically glows under it, because that strong, healthy-looking line makes every shade look intentional and rich, rather than flat. It works with straight hair, it works with natural waves, and honestly, it asks for almost nothing from you most mornings. But if you're craving a little more movement, a little more rebellion against anything too neat and structured, what I'm about to show you next might just become your new favorite. Cut number 3, the soft shag. And I want you to really hear this one, because if the granny cut is a stiff, perfect circle that never moves, the soft shag is its complete opposite. It's messy, it's effortless, and it might be the single best distraction trick in the entire world of hair. Here's something we don't talk about enough. Symmetry is not always your friend after 60. A perfectly round, perfectly even cut actually draws attention to every asymmetry in the face, every fine line, every shadow. But movement does the opposite. When your hair is choppy and alive, the eye follows the motion instead of settling on anything you'd rather it skip past. That's the whole secret here. Disruption. For your face framing piece, we're going for a curtain bang or a soft bottleneck fringe. Never a heavy blunt bang that reads too young and too severe. Instead, it starts gently at the bridge of your nose and sweeps outward toward your cheekbones like a soft set of brackets, lifting the face and pulling every bit of attention straight to your eyes. It's a veil, never a wall. Now, if you've noticed thinning at the crown, and I know so many of you have mentioned this in the comments, this cut handles it beautifully. Shorter layers up top combined with a longer perimeter creates natural internal lift, exactly where you need it most. The cutting technique matters here too. Angled cuts instead of straight across ones create shattered, stacked ends that trick the eye into seeing double the volume you actually have. And you get to keep your length, hitting right around the collarbone while still losing all that heavy, face-dragging weight underneath. Styling is wonderfully simple. Air dry. Scrunch in a little texturizing spray, maybe a touch of dry shampoo to keep everything separated and full. Never sleek, never stiff. It's youthful precisely because it isn't perfect. But if you're craving height instead of movement, something dramatic, something bold, and completely transformative, the next cut is about to become your favorite reveal yet. Cut number 4. The textured pixie. And let me ask you something first. Have you been craving real height, real drama, something that takes you 5 minutes flat to style in the morning and still turns heads the second you walk into a room? Because if so, this is the one you've been circling around in your head for months without quite having the courage to ask for. I already know what's running through your mind. I don't have the bone structure for short hair, or I'll end up looking like I just borrowed someone else's haircut. But a real textured pixie for a woman over 60 isn't flat, isn't severe, and isn't anything like what you're picturing. It's strategic volume placed exactly where it pulls the eyes straight up toward your cheekbones and your eyes. The secret lies in what we call the shattered crown, leaving the top 3 to 4 inches longer while keeping the sides and the nape tight and tapered. And that contrast is everything. Clean and short at the neck creates a long, elegant line for your profile, while those longer pieces on top give you the scaffolding for real volume. For anyone dealing with thinning at the crown, and I know this is so many of you, this cut is one of the most forgiving choices you can make, because shorter hair weighs less, which means the natural lift actually holds all day instead of falling flat by lunchtime. A little texture paste worked through with your fingers gives you that soft, piecey look that reads as intentional, never messy. And on silver or white hair, this cut becomes something else entirely. The different tones catch and separate beautifully, giving you a dimensional, multi-toned finish that long hair simply flattens out. Now tell me honestly in the comments below, are you still holding on to length, or have you already made the leap to something shorter? Because trust me, what's coming in just a moment, especially that mirror test I promised you, is going to make this decision so much easier. If I could give every single woman over 60 just one haircut as a gift, it would be this one. Cut number 5, the architectural bob. Think of it as the little black dress of hair, sharp, expensive-looking, timeless, and quite literally built to act as a non-surgical scaffolding for your face. Most traditional bobs are soft and rounded, hitting right at the widest part of the jaw, which sounds harmless until you remember that gravity is already pulling everything downward as we age, so a rounded shape only adds to that pull. A blunt horizontal line cut right at the chin or mid-neck does the opposite. It acts like a visual stop sign, stopping the eye exactly where you want it to land and tricking it into reading a tighter, more lifted jawline than what's actually there. It's like placing a frame around a masterpiece. The frame doesn't change the art, but it absolutely changes how the eye experiences it. The sweet spot sits just below the jawline or right at the nape, and tucking one side gently behind the ear opens the entire face and lifts the cheekbones instantly. Here's something we need you to remember before your next appointment. If your stylist starts cutting visible layers into the top of this bob, stop them. That's exactly how end up with the mushroom shape or the bowl. What you want instead is internal weight removal with a blunt perimeter, meaning the bottom stays thick and sharp while the bulk underneath gets carved away. This isn't a 45-minute styling commitment either. A flat iron pass to turn the ends slightly under or keep them razor straight is genuinely all it takes. And because older hair can turn porous and a little dull over time, those crisp, blunt ends catch and reflect light far better than soft, shaggy ones ever could, making your hair look healthier and more hydrated in an instant. But if you're not ready to give up your length just yet, the next cut gives you nearly all of this lift without losing a single inch. Let's be honest with you for a second, because not every woman is ready to say goodbye to her length, and that's exactly who number 6 cut was built for. The layered lob. This is the cut for the woman who loves the idea of lift and movement, but still wants to feel her hair brush her shoulders when she walks. The best of both worlds, and honestly, one of the smartest compromises in modern hair. Here's how it actually works. We keep that strong, thick perimeter intact along the very bottom edge, just like we did with the blunt bob. But underneath, throughout the mid-lengths, we carve in soft internal layers that the eye never directly sees, only feels in the way the hair moves. That hidden structure is what saves this cut from looking heavy or flat, because it pushes the hair outward and away from the scalp, instead of letting gravity pin it down against your face all day. For anyone quietly dealing with thinning at the temples or the crown, and we know this is more common than anyone likes to admit, those internal layers create natural shadow and depth, giving the illusion of nearly double the volume without a single visible layer line showing through. Watch what happens with silver or gray hair under this cut. Especially, the layers catch light differently from every angle, turning what could look flat and dull into something rich, dimensional, and almost luminous. It sits beautifully at or just below the collarbone, giving you that feminine length you're not ready to part with, while still giving you the youthful bounce that shorter cuts are known for. Styling could not be simpler either. A touch of volumizing mousse on damp hair, a quick blast with the dryer, and you're done. No fuss, no drama, just effortless movement all day long. But before you book this one or anything else we've talked about so far, there's one more cut left, and it might just be the safety net you didn't know you needed. Ladies, I saved this one for last on purpose because haircut 7, the shoulder-grazing shag, is the safety net every single one of you needs to know about before you commit to anything shorter. Here's the real problem with most long hair as we age. It turns into a curtain of dead weight, hanging flat against the face, pulling down the corners of the mouth, and quietly making even the most radiant woman look tired by midday. This cut solves that exact issue by introducing face-framing layers that begin right at the cheekbone, curving inward toward the face instead of falling straight down, and that single shift creates an instant visual lift that finally shows off your bone structure instead of hiding it underneath flat strands. Think of these layers as a scaffold. They push the hair outward and away from the scalp, rather than letting it collapse heavily against your skin. If your hair runs fine, we keep the bottom edge thick and blunt, exactly like we did with the bob, but internalize the layers through the mid-lengths, so thinning at the temples and crown gets disguised through shadow and depth instead of being exposed under flat lighting. It genuinely creates the illusion of nearly twice the hair you actually have. And on natural silver, watch closely. Those stacked layers catch and bend the light differently from every angle, turning what could read as flat or gray into something vibrant and full of dimension. This is the cut that lets you keep that feminine length grazing your collarbone while still gaining all the youthful bounce of something shorter, effortless, elegant, and ridiculously easy to style, with nothing more than a touch of volumizing mousse worked through damp hair. But here's something every stylist wishes more women understood. Even the most perfect haircut in this entire video can be completely ruined the moment you sit in that chair and can't communicate exactly what you want. Which is exactly why what comes next might be the most valuable thing I share with you today. Before you book anything, ladies, remember this. Even the most perfect cut can be ruined the second you can't speak your stylist's language. So when you sit in that chair, skip the word short and say internal layers, visual lift, blunt perimeter. Show them exactly what we discussed today. That's how collaboration replaces guesswork. We've covered 7 cuts built to work with your hair, not against it, but a haircut is never really just about hair. It's about the moment you catch your reflection in a window and actually smile back, posture lifted, shoulders open, finally taking up space after decades spent taking care of everyone else first. So here's your mirror test. Go look right now. Are your bangs too heavy? Is length hiding the cheekbones you forgot you had? Tell me in the comments which cut you're booking next. And if you're ready to stop feeling invisible and start feeling unmistakably yours again, hit subscribe and join a community of women who believe getting older is simply another word for becoming unforgettable. I'll see you in the next